I'm going to do a contest entry, and it's a challenge set by Jack the Vinyl Martini out there on Vancouver Island, I think. And he's asked us, it's apparently it hasn't got a prize that I can go spend somewhere. Jack's already made a donation to a food bank this December, a worthy cause, no doubt. And if you win, you'll get the kudos of being associated with the donation to the food bank, which is fine by me. But Jack set a challenge to show some compilation albums, and I'm going to show 10 Jack, which are my favourite various artist compilations. And I've got loads of them. Unlike Embryonic, I've got, who hardly has any, so he tells us, I've got loads of them, and I got loads of them mainly because they were cheap as chips back in the day. And of course I've got loads and loads of, probably hundreds of compilations on CD, but these are the vinyl albums, the various artist compilations that I have repeatedly played through the years. And, you know, I might do another video of another 10 good ones, but for now, I'm going to pick these 10 as probably my favourite compilation albums. So number one, a very famous compilation that was released in the UK. I'm not going to remember the date, but it's in the 70s, mid-70s or something like that. And I bought it because it was 59 pence. So just a little bit more than half £1. And that is the Warner Brothers Music Show. And this was an amazing value. It showcased, obviously, Warner Brothers artists, but a lot of American artists that I and people like me weren't over familiar with at the time. So what have we got on here? We got the Doobie Brothers, Pursuit on 53rd Street. We've got Feel the Need by Grand Central Station. Brilliant. Little Feat's Oh Atlanta and Dixie Chicken. We got Bad Motor Scooter by Montrose. Tower of Power, two great tracks. Don't Change Horses in the Middle of the Stream, and Only So Much Oil in the Ground. And what else have we got? Doobie Waters also with Blackwater. So great. That's the Warner Brothers Music Show. Fabulous. The second one I'm going to show was another cheap one in the 1980s for paying no more than 99 pence. So just a smidgen below £1, and that was by Cherry Red Records, and it's Pillows and Prayers. Now this album showcased artists that were kind of, Cherry Red Records was independent label back in the day. I'm pretty certain of that. And 1982 this was released, by the way. And it's got some artists on here, many of which, it's indie. Many artists that kind of came and went, more or less disappeared, except for their long-term fans. But one or two have made it a bit bigger. So what have we got? We've got the Monochrome set. Eine Symphonie des Grauens. Why did I pick that one to tell you? Thomas Lear, All About You. Tracy Thorn from Everything But the Girl. Plain Sailing. Her partner, Ben Watt. Some Things Don't Matter. Kevin Coyne I'll come back to later on. Love in Your Heart. Marine Girls, Lazy Ways. The Passage, XOYO, Eyeless and Gaza, No Noise, Attila the Stockbroker, A Bang and a Wimpy, and a great one from the poet Quentin Crisp, Stop the Music for a Minute. So that was 47 minutes worth of great, kind of more or less unknown acts back in the day. So that's number two. The third one is from the ZTT label. And again, this is in the 1980s. Have I got a date? I did say I wasn't going to tell you the dates if I couldn't find them straight away. But this was the great ZTT label. That was the home of The Art of Noise, Frankie Goes to Hollywood, Propaganda, and amongst others. And this one is notable for me, really notable for me, because it's got a great version of P Machinery by Propaganda. I'm still after A Secret Wish on vinyl, but I can't find a good quality copy. But this also has an exclusive track by Frankie Goes to Hollywood called Disneyland, and a version of Frankie doing Springsteen's Born to Run on Tyne T's Television's The Tube, which used to broadcast every Friday night. And it says here, spite meeting might and banging down an exclamation mark at very vague end of some American rock and roll. I have to say, it is the most exciting version of Born to Run I possibly ever heard. It's completely over the top, but it's fantastic. As I say, this has also got Propaganda on here, and Art of Noise, and a bunch of others. So that's great. Something different. Let's see, it's the theme here. It's another cheap one, £1.99. And this was from '87, so a little bit later, so the prices are starting to go up. And this is What's Happening, Stateside. And this is 16 sample cuts from the legendary Stateside label. So kind of soul music. And this is absolutely outstanding as well. We got the OJs, Bobby Womack, Looking for a Love, the latter, Garnet Mims, Lou Rawls, Erin Neville, Betty Swan, Ike and Tina Turner doing Nutbush City Limits, Little Anthony and the Imperials, Irma Thomas, the Isley Brothers doing Who's That Lady? The early version of Who's That Lady, not the one that was on 3+3, I think it was. Yeah, Professor Longhair as well. But yeah, oh, what a fantastic album. Great kind of early soul album. Something quite different from the Island label is one of two compilations. I think the other one was called You Can All Join In. Don't hold me to that, but this is Nice Enough to Eat. This is, as I say, on the Island label. Is this version? This is on the pink Island label. Fabulous, eh? Look at that. But this, it's amazing what you could get on these compilations. For next to no money. I think it's cost only about £1 as well back in the day. So what have we got here? Well, we got Fairport Convention, Mott the Hoople. We've got Spooky Tooth doing Better By You, Better Than Me, which is their best track, in my judgment. You've got Jethro Tull. You've got Free singing and playing Woman, which is superb. 40,000 Headmen by Traffic. Nick Drake doing Time Has Told Me. King Crimson's 21st Century Schizoid Man. Fantastic. Look at that. For about £1. Absolutely awesome. Little bit, that was early 70s, probably about 72, 73. This one is a reissue of an album that came out probably around about 1980, and this is Live Stiffs. And it's on the Stiff record label, except to say it's on Music for Pleasure. So it has the budget label, famous budget label from the UK, Music for Pleasure, from its division of EMI. But this, I don't care whether this is a budget version or not, it's still got some fantastic tracks on it. So we've got Nick Lowe, I Knew the Bride, Reckless Eric doing Semaphore Signals, Larry Wallace doing Police Car, Elvis Costello, I just don't know what to do with myself, and Miracle Man, Ian Dury and the Blockheads, Wake Up and Make Love With Me, and Billy Ricky Dickey, and the whole lot, the whole ensemble, all this lot came back on stage and did a version of Sex and Drugs and Rock and Roll. So fantastic, absolutely brilliant. This one was from about 1973. This is, I play this to the same day, and this is on the Virgin Records label, and this is called V. Count the fingers. V. Now, I'm going to tell you what's on this in a second, but this, I bought this when it came out, and it's got the original Virgin label on that. Look at that. It's absolutely pristine as well. Fantastic. This is a brilliant 2 LP compilation. And there's a couple more 2LP compilations as well. But this, quickly show you who's on. There you go. Let me just pick out some of the best ones. Well, Robert Wyatt does a version of Yesterday Man. Mike Oldfield does a vocal track called Don Alfonso with David Bedford, Kevin Ayres, Chris Cutler playing as well. Ivor Cutler, Go and Sit Upon the Grass, which Ivor Cutler, I think, was a Scottish kind of poet, which had this particular track's got like a drone background, which is great. Tangerine Dream, a tune called Overture from the Phaedra era, but it doesn't appear on any other album. Kevin Coyne does the best version of Marjorie Razorblade I've ever heard. Captain Beefheart is on here doing Mirror Man, great version. Live as well, by the way. And also Upon the My Oh My, again, beats the studio version. You've got Slap Happy, Henry Cow, Tom Newman, Chili Charles, Jabula, Clearlight Symphony, Hatfield in the North doing Your Majesty is Like a Cream Donut, and Oh What a Lonely Lifetime, White Noise 2, and Steve Hillage, of course. So that's a brilliant compilation, and that's V. This one is not for the indie bands. This one here is going to be for the heavyweights. So excuse me a second. This cup of tea is going to get cold here. This is on the Atlantic record label. And again, it's a 2 LP set. So there you go. There's the old Atlantic label here. So heavyweights. What are we talking about in terms of heavyweights? I'll put that back in the sleeve in a minute. Well, we've got, let me just show you the inside cover. And this was like the name Alan Freeman here was put to this album. And Alan Freeman was a famous DJ for the BBC who used to do this Saturday rock show. Kind of small man, but his enthusiasm for music was off the scale. And he was open to all types of music. Although John Peel, who was around at the same time, took up the slack when it came to punk music and such like. But all the classic rock stuff that was covered by Alan Freeman. And when he did his last show, he invited people to write in with tracks, requests for that last show. And I got one of my requests satisfied, if you like, and he wrote me a letter. I've got it lying around somewhere. I haven't thrown it away, but I can't lay my hands on it at this particular moment. So what have we got on this album? Whole Lot of Love by Zeppelin. It's Only Rock and Roll by the Stones. Stephen Stills, Love the One You're With. Average White Band, Pick Up the Pieces. Buffalo Springfield, Expecting to Fly. PFM, The World Became the World. Heavy Metal Kids, Rock and Roll Man. And I commented on a live stream by Rachel's Ghost today on that one. I saw the Heavy Metal Kids at Newcastle City Hall for 25 pence. 25 pence. And it seats about 2,000. So this up-and-coming band managed to sell out a 2,000-seater because the tickets were so cheap. You got Yours Is No Disgrace by Yes. Roberta Flack, first time ever I Saw Your Face. Emerson, Lake and Palmer, Carnival 9. Yes Again, Sound Chaser. Zeppelin, Immigrant Song. It doesn't get much better than that. You got the Stones doing Angie. Delaney and Bonnie, Pretty Things, and Aretha Franklin as well. Brilliant double album there. So what have we got left? Have we got one or two? We've got two left. This is another, this is called the Old Grey Whistle Test. And this was take 2. So it must have been the second compilation. But I used this particular compilation to tune into some American artists that I just really simply weren't on my radar. But anyway, what have we got here? We got Dave Mason from Traffic, of course, Give Me a Reason Why. Lovely song. We've got Rory Gallagher doing Bullfrog Blues. Sister Seagull by Bill Nelson's Bebop Deluxe. An extract from Camel's The Snow Goose. And the brilliant Ripples by Genesis from A Trick of the Tail. But so that was like Great Britain, if you like, represented on the second disc. It's the United States. Rock and Roll Doctor by Little Feat. Gil Scott Heron doing Johannesburg. Back It Up by Niels Lofgren, Joe Walsh's Turn to Stone, Jimi Hendrix Red House, Beach Boys Sail on Sailor. Side 4 I particularly enjoy here, which is, it's kind of a melancholy side really, and that is, you got Jackson Browne's For a Dancer from Late for the Sky, Teen Sympathy by Janice Ian, Desperado by Linda Ronstadt, The Eagles doing Doolin Dalton, Bonnie Raitt I'm Blowing Away, and Dan Fogelberg as The Raven Flies. Great, great compilation. And finally, are you still with me, Jack? Finally, now, like a lot of people who are interested in rock and pop music at the time, your taste began to expand, and mine did. And I was interested in jazz. And one of the problems with jazz for the newcomer is that if you want to pick up a sampler album, it certainly was back in the day, you would invariably get the cheap compilations that would kind of include tunes, Louis Armstrong, you've got Bird, you've got Duke Ellington, playing stuff from the 40s and the 50s, and from an audio point of view, they sounded distant and badly recorded and so on and so forth. So it wasn't unusual for people to sample a bit of jazz and thought, this is completely from a different era, doesn't make any sense to me when I'm listening to Led Zeppelin or Genesis or whoever it might be. However, this album came out in 1987, and it was my gateway, I think, into jazz, and that is a sample of Blue Notes. This is a superb compilation. Now, it's got 12 tracks. To be fair, they're all kind of truncated versions, or most of them are truncated versions, because on the original albums they go on longer. But it's a great sample and it sounds fantastic. So Blue Note, we got Horace Silver, Stanley Turrentine, The Sermon by Jimmy Smith, Art Blakey's Miner's Holiday, Dexter Gordon, I Guess I'll Hang My Tears Out to Dry, Thelonious Monk, Round Midnight, Lou Donaldson, Herbie Hancock, Cannonball Adderley, the great Kenny Burrell, Midnight Blue, Lee Morgan and Hank Mobley. So that is a brilliant compilation. So that was, as I say, my gateway into jazz. So there you go, Jack. That's 10 various artist compilations, albums that I continued to play long after I bought them. And that's my competition entry. And as I suggested at the beginning, there's a good chance I'm going to do another selection of brilliant various artist compilations that are definitely worth seeking out, because they're cheap as chips when it comes to these record fairs and record shops. So you can pick up some fantastic stuff. So that's me done. I'll see you on the next video. Thanks for watching this one.